Hi, I'm Ryan, and welcome to another episode of Arts for the Masses. The arts are alive here in Massachusetts, and I'm so delighted to be able to deliver them right into your home and get you excited about some wonderful performances that are happening right here in your community. Today, I have some dear friends with me who are here to talk about an upcoming production of The Music Man at Concord Players in Concord. We have Nick Miller, who's playing the Music Man himself, Harold Hill, and Catherine Denny, who's the music director. Catherine has been on the show before to talk about The Drive to Sing, her wonderful documentary and effort that brought music to people all over Massachusetts and beyond. And Nick and I go way back.
Go back.
Should we go back?
I think we should a little bit.
I think it's 15 years.
I want to say 15 years, right? I was like, well, it's 2024 now, so that puts us,
Yeah, 15 years ago, we did a production of an original piece.
An original piece, yep.
Called On This Moon.
On This Moon, and I wore a lot of makeup. My skin was angry at me for about a good 2 or 3 months after that. I played an alien in it, and yeah.
There will be pictures on the screen.
Okay, awesome. Perfect.
Absolutely. I couldn't let it.
No, you couldn't.
But now you're in your human days.
Yes.
Recently.
Yeah. I'm back in my human days, and Harold Hill. I mean, so exciting.
It's so exciting, and you know, most people post on Facebook and stuff about upcoming performances.
Sure. Yeah.
But I sense a certain special energy that when you put out there into the world that you were going to be playing Harold Hill.
Gosh, I mean, it's funny because Harold, you talk to people and you hear, I had that, Music Man record that my grandparents had and I listened to it all the time, or I had that VHS and I wore it out. And my relationship with Harold Hill and the Music Man doesn't go that deep. It's not something I grew up with, but I knew the big songs, and when I knew that the Concord Players were doing it, I went so deep into this show, and I wanted to do it because I live in Concord. I'm in the show with my daughter Sage, so we're bringing it, this sort of family community, really community theater experience is just.
And that's what I love about community theater is that the egos get left at the door.
Yeah.
And I hope it's that way at Concord Players.
100%. Yeah.
And I recently played Harold Hill myself at theater at the Mount Wachusett.
He killed it.
And it was so. Yeah. I was more excited that you were there to come see my performance than I was to do it for my own parents. Oh no, that's a lie.
Yeah.
But I'm just as excited to go and see your take on this iconic character as well, and see how a different group with different resources and different cast and creative team take this wonderful show, this classic for a very good reason, and spend your own life into it. Catherine, can you talk about why do you think this show is such a classic? Every song is a bop, and it's just ingrained in the American psyche, all of this music. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, I think Meredith Willson is a special kind of genius because not only does he get that sort of, small town America feel, but he also can create parallels in some of the songs that are not immediately obvious, but when you think about it, 2 of the songs have exactly the same melodic and harmonic structure. They're just, one is a slow song that Marion sings, "Good night, my someone," and one, and Harold sings, "76 trombones led the big." But if you kind of outline those melodies, they're exactly the same.
Musical tricks.
Yeah, and at first they're in different keys, but then of course at the end, when Marion and Harold are kind of getting to know each other, they sort of trade phrases, and then they're gonna sort of, show us that this is actually one piece of music that he approached from 2 different directions. So that's kind of brilliant.
I think sort of the joy that I saw in the show was people's ability to change. And I think that's just a huge theme in the show is Harold arrives in this town of Iowa stubborn people that are very much stuck in their ways, that are not interested in doing anything different than the way they have been. And he brings this mischievous light into this town, and by the end of it, people are getting excited and falling in love and changing their perspectives on many different things. And it happens over the course of a few months in the context of the show, but I think it's just really special, that magic.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking the same thing, just not only how he changes this town, but how this town changes him. Who is this guy? What is he running from? Why is he on the move? Why can he seemingly not settle with himself? What is he looking for? And we have that moment, 76 trombones with "Goodnight, My Someone," where those melodies come together. And when we did our first read through, I was telling the cast, I'm always drawn to playing outsiders. I love playing outsiders, and Harold is such a classic outsider. But you realize, Marion is an outsider as well.
Absolutely.
And how do these two people create this special, this spark that just takes over this entire town? It's so clever how he does it.
I don't think we need to spend much time talking about the show itself. There are so many resources available.
Absolutely.
If you're not familiar with the show, and it is a part of the standard American musical theater repertoire for a reason. So if you haven't seen The Music Man, check out this production. It's going to be legit. Concord Players does a fantastic job. It's really one of the best community theaters in the area, in my opinion, in terms of the resources that they pull together for set design and costuming, and always the music balance is really terrific. And it's very professional. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree. I agree completely.
You wouldn't believe how many people auditioned. So the fact that we had to choose 30 out of the 100, there were 30 extremely high quality actors and musicians, so it's really great.
I've had the opportunity to serve on the board of the Concord Players, and I'm currently on the board at 51 Walden, which is the building the Concord Players rent.
It's a really special building. It used to be the Armory.
It was the Armory, and it's owned by the town, but our arts groups are able to use it, and we maintain it. So we have Concord Players, Concord Band, Concord Orchestra. These are all fantastic groups. Check them out. It's really high level.
They even do some Shakespeare, and they move it outdoors during the summer too.
Yep. It's a lot going on.
And community theater in Concord goes back a long time. We're talking about.
We can talk about Louisa May if we want to.
Who are those sisters?
Yeah, you may have heard of them. So.
And they were the creators of the Concord Players. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm not going to go on the record breaking down exactly how it all ties together.
Anyway,
but you know what I'm. Yeah, Louisa May.
They do a production of Little Women every 2 years or something like that, because they're paying their homage
That's
to.
Right. That's
every
right.
10 years.
Every 10 years.
Hey, what are we going to do? It's Concord. We gotta show up.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Who else is involved in the team here? Who's our director? And
so the stage director is Paul Murphy. He's fantastic. We have two producers, Kathy Legue and Corinne Kinsman, and then our choreographer, Brad Robinson, is keeping everybody, all of our blood pressure and cardio.
So much.
He's fantastic.
And positivity, and you're just,
yeah.
oh my gosh, what am I doing? And he's just,
there's more dance music in this show than I ever remembered.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'll be conducting all through it. And it's great because Brad is a musician, and I've been in theater a lot, so we kind of collaborate a lot. He can say, oh, I need this to be like 130 beats per minute. And I'm like, okay, I can do that,
Wonderful.
So it's nice.
How does the music in this show, it provides really unique textures, especially considering that the show was written in, 1957. There's some really other clever things that might be called rap these days, but there's a special sort of patter that isn't like the traditional Gilbert and Sullivan. It's very... how do you qualify it?
Well, one of my favorite pieces of music is actually this opening scene where there are about 8 or 10 traveling salesmen that they're on a train across the country and trying to sell whatever they're supposed to sell. And they're kind of taking the speed of the train, and that's how fast they talk. And they're complaining about the fact that the world has been changed and their jobs are not necessary because people figured out how to make an airtight sanitary package. And the really interesting thing, so that meant that you could put things into a building and walk in and not have to have somebody drive it to your doorstep. And I'm wondering how that's going to resonate to a contemporary audience where I can now in 2024 stay in my house and have someone bring to me everything I need.
That's right.
So I'm just curious as to if it'll feel like, oh, Amazon has become the traveling sales people of
Totally.
our generation.
Yeah.
It was
I don't
interesting
know.
speaking to the younger people in our cast trying to explain what the Wells Fargo wagon is. And we were like, it's basically the Amazon of the day, but it took a long time.
And it was like every couple of weeks that it came, right? You'd
Yeah.
be anticipating these deliveries for,
Yeah.
life-changing.
And then, of course, the other big patter song is Trouble. And I was wondering if maybe we might have a little moment of dueling Harold Hills right now.
Do you still remember the words?
I never forgot them.
Hey.
Because I did play the part even prior when I was 17 years old
once in
with
future Harold Hill.
kids on stage in Edison, New Jersey.
I
that's
love
fun.
it. This is your second time around.
Yes.
Okay,
And
okay.
even before that, I was in the boys' band. Barney. That's my Barney at the end.
Oh, you were Barney.
I was
That's
Barney.
nice.
You know, I feel like if I hadn't learned the show when I was a child, there's no way it would stick in my mind now.
Yeah,
So it's like, I can do this show because I came in. It was somewhere buried inside of me.
Internalized.
The
yes.
dialogue, not a word of the dialogue, but definitely
yeah.
the songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we do a little?
Sure,
Okay.
of course.
And how about you point out and switch us back and forth, keep us on our feet.
So we'll just do like dueling Harold?
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right, let's start.
Are we going to say seated for this?
Yeah, we gotta
Okay,
stay seated because I don't have that many camera
I
operators.
I hear you.
Got
I
it.
hear you.
Okay. All right. All right, so let's start with you. Ready?
Okay.
All right, so I think it
From the
starts-
beginning.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City.
Why, sure, I'm a billiard player, certainly mighty proud to say. I'm always mighty proud to say it.
I consider that the hours I spend with a cue in my hand are golden.
Help you cultivate horse sense and a cool head and a keen eye.
Do you ever take and try and give an ironclad leave to yourself from a three-rail billiard shot?
Well, just as I say, it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a balk-line game. I say that
Boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket, and I call that sloth.
the first big step on the road to the depths of degradé, I say first, it's a little medicinal wine from a teaspoon.
Then beer from a bottle, and the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pinchback suit.
And listening to some big out-of-town Jasper, hear him tell about horse race gambling.
Not a wholesome trotting race, no, but a race where they sit down right on the horse.
Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy setting on Dan Patch and make your blood boil? Well, I should say.
Now, friends, let me tell you what I mean.
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets in the table, pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
Hey!
Now, how do we do like a sideshow version where there's conjoined Harold Hills?
there you go.
Slow down here, Shakespeare.
Nobody wants to see that. The show's confusing enough as it is.
That's right.
So once again, this show is playing April 26th through May 11th at Concord Players. Website is concordplayers.org, and of course you can call the box office 978-369-2990. What else are you excited about? What are you finding in Harold Hill that's similar to Nick? Because that was something that was interesting to me is every time you approach a performance, it's ultimately you on stage.
Right,
You're
right,
cast because there's some element of you that resonates with that character. I can tell you why I think Nick is a good Harold Hill.
Should I start or should you
I'll
start?
tell you.
Okay.
Because there's this innate likability to you. There's a real, genuine smile. There's a real connection and even eye contact that you give so freely and so willingly that you can sell me anything.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And I think you'll bring that in and you won't have any trouble. You won't be a Harold that has to work too hard to win over these people in Iowa. I think you just bring that natural charm and charisma and you'll win them over.
Well, in that case, I've got some real estate to show you when we're done here. But thank you, Ryan. And, we were at rehearsal the other night, and I said, if I can say these words about the Music Man, but I want to talk about the emotional depth here, that's going to happen, because ultimately we have this redemptive story, and the words are in the text. If I may, there was love all around, but I never saw it till there was you. So I'm excited to reveal this character who was unable to see what was inside of himself until he found the right person to bring that out.
Tell me about your co-star, because I'm not familiar with the young woman who's playing Marion.
Oh, Janet Poley. She's
Janet
fantastic.
Poley.
So Janet is a beautiful singer and a really great actor. And I feel as if she really has explored the part of Marion that is as Nick said, an outsider, and that she is trying so hard to make her family survive. You know, her father has died a few years ago, and she has a younger brother who is traumatized by the death of his father, and she's trying really hard to be to nurture him. And she really, at first, can see right through this con artist because she's a musician. She says, you know, you're lying. And then after, at the kind of midpoint in the story, her little brother starts to talk and come alive because of the instruments that Harold Hill has brought to the town. And that sort of shifts something in Marion, that she still knows that he's not genuine, but she can see this positive trajectory of the town and how now people are working together on the dance committee and on the school board, singing in a barbershop quartet, and that all of the division that had been in the community before is now kind of galvanizing around this controversial figure. And that isn't that often how communities come together, is to say, oh, I don't know about Harold. Oh, well, I like him. Well, I don't like him. Well, that's okay. You know, that is how we come together sometimes.
I'm curious at Concord Players how the community comes together. Are there any traditions or different things that happen backstage at the Concord Players that are sort of passed down through history? Is there do you meet before the show and do a pre-show circle, or are there any traditions that are?
Gosh, I don't know if we can reveal those things.
Oh,
you know,
very secretive.
You know, we have the costume divas, and there's a number of them that are just incredible. Carol Antos is heading them up for this show. She's the head costume designer, but they're always there on hand, making sure that everything's running smoothly. And
for months.
For months, and then for the shows, and it's just so special to come down at the end, and the team is standing, and you're getting a big round of applause, a little extra round of applause as you come down from the divas. So, sorry divas if I wasn't supposed to reveal that if you aren't in a Concord Players show, but all the more reason to come on out for the Concord Players.
We have a 13-piece orchestra.
Oh, fantastic.
Who are, it's actually a very deep and tall stage, so we've built a loft kind of behind the set, where all of us are going to be playing live, and I'll be able to see people through a monitor. But they're really fantastic musicians, and they're all gonna.
I wonder, where's the orchestra when I saw Titanic? Were they put in the back somewhere? That show was fantastic
yes,
too.
No,
they've been up there since
8 years or so.
I'm gonna have to get a tour backstage and see what.
We might be able to hook you up. Yeah.
It's extensive, and if you're on stage and you look up, it's like 16 feet above you, which gives you a lot of flexibility to kind of hang things and then bring them down in a second. So it's kind of fun.
Excellent. Are there any particular challenges to the music in The Music Man? You know, these songs like Till There Was You they seem so simple, but there are some deceptively difficult arrangements in this show, especially for a group of 4 men.
Ah, yes. Yes, there's a barbershop quartet, which, sometimes people will have an existing barbershop quartet that just gets into The Music Man and sings it, and it's a little bit more, part of their culture. We have 4 men who are all fantastic singers, and we're all learning all of the harmonies and getting coached by barbershop people. And
no way.
So we actually have a coaching session on Sunday where someone who has a professional barbershop group is gonna, sing with them and help them to make great lines and intonation. And the amazing thing about barbershop is that you only have 4 notes, but sometimes if they really get in tune, you can hear dozens of other overtones, and it's almost like, what am I listening to? And it's almost a feeling if you're singing together and it's like not quite right, and then when
it clicks,
there
it's
is.
magic.
It's so exciting.
And I think that's one of the most magical parts of the show when I've seen it is when the barbershop is singing and then Marion comes in with her part in
Lida Rose.
Lida Rose. Oh,
yeah.
That's theater magic. That is really absolutely theater magic. Yeah. It's been so great having you. Anything else? Any other shout outs or any people we want to pay attention to before we wrap up?
we have a fantastic team all around. We really hope folks come out. It's going to be a special show.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And you heard it from me. Concord Players does fantastic work. The plays are fantastic too.
Yeah.
They put the same care and dedication into the smaller shows as they do the big blockbusters like The Music Man. And this is a chance to see a show that isn't done as frequently anymore. A lot of the newer shows, the Mean Girls and the more contemporary shows are really starting to creep in. So to find a group that's gonna do a classic Broadway musical with a big legitimate orchestra and a big 30-piece cast, you don't wanna miss it. Concord is right down the road. Get your tickets. I'm sure they're flying off right now. And it's been so wonderful having both of you here on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. All right.
Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Arts for the Masses. Yes, the arts are so alive right here in Massachusetts. So if you're a nonprofit theater group, dance group, or if you're a visual artist or a vocalist, a puppeteer, I don't care. Get in touch. I'd love to have you on the program and feature the wonderful work that you're doing. I'm Ryan Maliar, and thank you for watching.